Arsenal season so far, it hasn't been looking great. I mean, it's been a bit of a rocky beginning to the season. It hasn't been as good as the past 2 seasons. The past 2 seasons, I know myself and a lot of Arsenal fans, we're just used to just flying. Great performance after great performance after great performance. Especially at the beginning of the season, we usually just go on an amazing run. But 11 games in, 5 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses, plus 6 goal difference, 19 points. We're sitting currently at 4th, joint points with 3rd Chelsea and 5th Nottingham Forest and 6th Brighton. To be fair, the Premier League is actually very competitive this year. I mean, from 3rd to 13th, there's only 4 points that separates these teams, which is a bit worrying, which is good for the league, obviously. I mean, parity is always a good thing when it comes to sports, good competition, etc. But from an Arsenal fan's perspective, it's a bit worrying because if we don't get it together, we might get stuck within this pack. If we can't get some successive wins, if we start getting like 2 wins, 1 loss, then 1 win, draw, loss, like if the results don't improve and if our results don't start looking like a title contenders like form, I mean, look at Liverpool, last 9 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. I mean, they're on fire at the moment. You just got to give credit where credit is due. Arne Slot came in this season. A lot of people had a lot of doubts. I had a lot of questions. Even in my first episode that I posted, I had a lot of questions about new manager, new squad. How is he going to... not necessarily new squad, but the squad's new to him. How is he going to implement his ideas and game plans towards the team? A couple big season for certain players, certain positions. We didn't know who would be playing there, like the DM position for them, but Gravenberch has completely proven to be some wonder. He's proven to be who we kind of thought he would become in terms of an elite player. I didn't expect this to happen so quickly though, so props to them. They're doing great things. But for Arsenal, man, I mean, we've been dealing with a lot of injuries, I wouldn't even say a lot of injuries. We've been dealing with one key injury, and it's Martin Odegaard. Now, he did return, thankfully, against Chelsea, and he got an assist on his first start. So, and I believe he played the full 90 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he played the full 90 minutes. He didn't come off, which is a positive sign. He won't be going on international duty, which is positive for us as Arsenal fans, because he just came back. We've got even more time to kind of get the injury and everything under control, get his match fitness back up to scratch. But yeah, I'm very glad that he's back, because the second that he came back, you could see that the attack was flowing a little bit better than what it was before. I mean, before it was so rigid. We had Trossard playing in the position, but that's not his natural position. We're asking a lot of a winger who's usually a super sub to be our starting creative player in the midfield. He did an okay job, but it just wasn't enough for us to maintain a certain level of we didn't play well enough with him in that position. But with Odegaard in that position, obviously on the weekend it was 1-1 against Chelsea, but you could see we had a lot more looks at goal. We scored a goal that was offside. We scored the goal towards the end. Well, we had the last minute opportunity at the end with Trossard, and that came through Odegaard's pass. With Odegaard, everything just ticks. He's the maestro. He's the playmaker. He's our guy. He's the captain. And so it's not just a quality player coming back, but it's the leader, demanding everything from everyone, demanding a good high-level performance from everyone. It's just, thankfully he's back, and I'm happy he's back. But on the other hand, we have started to see a few more players fall down due to injury. Calafiori's still out. Tomiyasu's been out for ages. Declan Rice has a broken toe, although he did play. I believe they probably just injected him with some painkillers or something, I don't know. But it's good that he won't be going on international duty these next 2 weeks. He'll get a little bit of a break. I don't think... The reports are saying that it's a broken toe. If it's a broken toe, I don't think it will heal that fast anyway, to be fair. Usually it'll take... I think I searched it on Google. Usually it's up to 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. But hopefully we can kind of rest him a little bit anyway. It looks like we've got our other important midfielders back anyway. Mikel Merino's back. He was injured for a lot at the beginning of the season. So it's good to have him on the pitch. He had a cameo yesterday. He's had a few cameos recently. And I like what I see. He's a very tidy player and he's brave. Whenever he turns with the ball, he's comfortable under the press. But he turns and he plays forward, which is something that with Rice playing centre mid is not something that you'll see all the time. Not his fault or anything, but it's just Marino's a different player in that situation, in that circumstance. So it's a positive with him. And to be fair, I wouldn't mind seeing Marino, Ødegaard and Partey playing for a little bit. Give Declan Rice a little bit of a rest if he needs. Maybe Nwaneri can get some minutes, but if Declan Rice can obviously heal up and come back a little bit quicker, then fair dues. But we've got someone that is good enough to replace him for the time being. Yeah, man. The thing with Arsenal is that the form recently hasn't been good enough. I'm liking what I'm seeing though. Now that Ødegaard's back after the international break, let me just see the fixtures here. So we've got Forest, who have been playing well, but I watched their game on the weekend against Newcastle. They are still Forest, although they've got a good record so far this season. They are there for taking. Not to disrespect them or anything, but they are Mega Forest, and we'll be playing them at home Saturday 3 p.m. kickoff. So it should be this should be a game that we're looking to make a statement after the international break. Then we've got Sporting midweek away from home. They've changed their manager. Ruben Amorim's gone to United, so that should be a statement after the recent Champions League performance against Inter Milan. The loss, we definitely need a win to get back into them comfortable positions for qualification, the automatic qualifications. Then we've got West Ham, who haven't looked great. West Ham away, they haven't looked great themselves. We need to take an opportunity. We need to take advantage of that game. Then we've got Manchester United at home. Now that is a statement game for us as well. We have to win that. We have to take advantage of them having a new manager. Sometimes new manager bounce and everything, it can work in their favour, but we need to be a team where they come to us. They might have a bit of hype. They just won 3-0 on the weekend, but they might have a bit of a run of form. But we need to bring them back to reality. We need to make sure that we show them, okay, you man, you've got the new gaffer, you've got some new ideas, but you're not at this level yet. We've got to stamp our authority in that game. Then we've got Fulham away. Got to win that game. So we've got some winnable games coming up. And in the next few games, I can see wins. I can see us performing. I need us to perform. Forget about what I'm saying. We need to be performing. And if we're going to be serious this season, we've got to make sure that we take advantage of this next couple games, because the run is I won't say favourable, but we're not really playing any big teams, dangerous teams, except for, I guess, Manchester United. After that, obviously Fulham. We've got Champions League midweek against Monaco at home. Then we've got Everton on the weekend. Then we've got midweek against Palace, and then we face them on the weekend away. Then we've got Ipswich, Brentford, Brighton. So we've got games that will lead into the new year, where hopefully we can get the ball rolling. We can get just all wins. If the injuries aren't as severe as they are, Saka looked like it was a bad injury, him coming off. Maybe it's like a media thing that Arteta's doing to kind of use it as an excuse for him not to go to international duty, for Saka to go on international duty. Maybe, obviously it's just precautions. Hopefully he'll be fine. It didn't look great because obviously I know the running joke of Saka limping, whatever, but usually he'll carry on, but it didn't look great this past weekend. Hopefully he'll be okay, because we need our best players, man. We need our best players. There are some players that I expected a bit more of at this time of the season. Raheem Sterling, I saw some report, maybe it was on AFTV or something like that, but they posted something about Arteta being concerned about Sterling's performances as of late, not being up to par with the squad, or at least what he expected. Obviously, he knows him from Man City, so he knows the best version of Sterling. So that isn't great if that's our options off the bench. Trossard off the bench would be good. Martinelli getting a goal, so hopefully he starts scoring again, whatever. Jesus hasn't looked great, but hopefully he can start chipping in here and there. Fight for that number 9 spot. He's got the number 9 on his shirt. He's got to fight for the spot. He's got to make sure that he's still known as not just a a B tier Man City player who came to Arsenal, but he needs to stamp his self. He needs to like make it. He needs to fight. I mean, if he doesn't do well this year, I don't see him staying here for that long. I mean, I would assume Arsenal will probably try to move him on and look to bring in a replacement, especially next year with a lot of strikers being available. I mean, Gyökeres doing well at Sporting. He could probably be a potential target. Osimhen's on loan. I believe it might be his last year of his deal at Napoli anyway, but he's on loan at Galatasaray. So he's on the books. He'll be available, sorry. Ivan Toney went to Saudi. If someone might look at him, that's a proven Premier League striker. Might go for him. There are names out here for people to be chasing. So Jesus' career right now, I think this is as big of the these next few months are as big as it gets for him. Yeah, hopefully positive things come from it. But yeah, man, Arsenal. Obviously with the season not going as well as many predicted, or as smoothly as many predicted. Obviously, it's still early doors. We've got to emphasize that it is still early doors. There have been a lot of people, Arsenal fans included, maybe triggered by rival fans, but people are starting to mention nonsense about Arteta out. Arteta out claims like it doesn't make sense to me for a few reasons. So I'm definitely Arteta in. By the way, I'm just stamping that in as a claim. I was Arteta in when he first came, when everyone wanted to kick him out after that second season. I saw the improvements in that second season. Obviously, we finished 8th to 8th, but I remember back then I was one of the only people that I knew, at least, that was fighting for Arteta to stay in the job. Thankfully, he did, but it is now time, as a lot of people are saying, he needs to bring us silverware. We need to see some form of tangible success, you know. But there are a few murmurs in and amongst the fan base of him leaving, which doesn't make sense to me because, one, this is finally his team. He's invested, he's put all this money in. We need to give him the opportunity to actually prove himself. Now, a lot of people will say, this is our third season challenging. But that's not necessarily how I see it. That first season where we kind of blew everyone out the water when Jesus and Zinchenko first came, and Arsenal was just incredible, just destroying teams. We lost this game. We lost the league towards the end of that season. I believe it was Saliba's injury that kind of kickstarted the downfall, but it was a lot of poor form. I think it was Anfield result when it was 2-2. West Ham, where we were ahead and we lost that game. Maybe we drew or lost or something like that. Then Southampton at home, and then we lost against Man City. So that was the downfall. I remember that year. But that year specifically, no one expected us to challenge. We didn't even expect us to challenge. I think we were way ahead of schedule. We surprised ourselves in many ways, because the season before, we missed out on Champions League towards the end of the season. I mean, that massive game against Newcastle where we lost, was it 2-0, 3-0, something like that? It was a bad game where we lost that. And then I think we lost to maybe Spurs or something like that, if I remember correctly. But I remember a lot of people saying, this is just the same old Arsenal. You're not as good as you think. You're not as good as you thought you were. So that season when we surprised everyone, I clearly remember people that I would speak to outside of other rival fans, Arsenal fans. Arsenal fans were a bit more positive. We were expecting, okay, let's try build on this. But other fans were saying that, you're just going to go back to the normal Arsenal. You're going back to 8th, back to mediocrity. It was a fluke season, blah, blah, blah. But then that season, we solidified ourselves as one of the best in the league. We pushed City even further that following season. Lost, which was last season. We lost on the last day of the season, mathematically. We couldn't really get over the line, which is a bit frustrating. But that showed our growth. Now, that was probably the season where I thought, you know what, at least from my perspective, that was the season where, okay, we solidified ourselves as title contenders. We pushed for the league. This is Arteta's first genuine season where he probably thinks, and everyone's looking at him saying, okay, this is a contending team. We expect you to contend. So that's the first season. That was last season. Now this is his second full season, at least in my opinion. Like I've been saying, this is my view on everything. This is at least this is his second season now, where he has this proper respect as a coach. The respect, Arsenal have the respect as a big team now. There's a lot of expectation on us rather than us being like some surprise team. There's genuine expectation on us to perform this year. So to me, it just doesn't make sense if we allow him, or if we get rid of him after like I said, 1.5 seasons, 11 games, 1 season and 11 games, if of him actually having this expectation on him to perform and everything like that. It just doesn't make sense. Also, who is there out there to replace him? There's no one that fits the type of style that we want to play anyway. This type of style that the Arsenal board have created, the Arsenal team have created. I mean, you got to think about it. This is his players, his team that he's built, his backroom staff. Yeah, all of the set piece stuff that we all love. Yeah, that's his guy. So don't expect us. If he goes, I'm expecting him to take all of his guys anyway. So that it just screaming stuff out of frustration. I get it. Look, you're a fan. You're frustrated. You want to see results. I want to see results. I want to win. But just screaming nonsense, it doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? We've got to think about it logically. He's the best man for the job. This is his team. He knows everyone the best. They believe in him. I'm pretty sure the players want to win for him just as much as he wants them to perform and he wants the team to win. I mean, this is like this is the first time in ages where I've legitimately felt this is a team where everyone's actually going to be fighting for each other. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's it. Just that Arteta Out stuff we just got to stop that. We got to nip that in the bud. That's just nonsense. Let's stop being silly with all of that stuff. Stop letting rival fans rattle you and make you insecure or whatever. Blah blah blah. Like this, just it's nonsense. We just need to stop all of that. Like yeah, I've said what I said, man. Arteta Out and nonsense. I don't know what that is, but I completely forgot what I was going to say next. There was the Arteta Out stuff. Him being, this is his second season contending. So the expectation over this season as well. Now, yes, it is technically his second season of contending, but I do think it's about time that we see some sort of tangible form of success, whether it's a title, whether it's Champions League, whether it's a FA Cup, Carabao Cup. We need to win something. We need to win some silver because in order to build on success, you have to win at least one of these lesser cups. I mean, like Carabao Cup or FA Cup. If we're able to win something like that, at least the players will start thinking to themselves, you know what, we've got something. We are winners. We're capable of winning. We're capable of achieving stuff. Let's build on this and go towards the next one. There's a lot of discussion about players potentially leaving if we don't do anything this year, if we go another year trophyless. Saliba, murmurs. Nothing legitimate about Saliba being a transfer target for anyone, but obviously there's small murmurs about Real Madrid creeping. I mean, all these big teams, there's always Real Madrid, Barcelona, maybe not Barcelona now, they're a bit broke, but those kind of teams, Bayern Munich, whatever, looking to poach the best players in the world. I mean, they're the biggest teams in the world, so players will want to go to them. Saliba being French, a lot of those guys over there, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, they're French. They would want him to be there. He matches their age, so he'd be part of that 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year run if they're able to hang about that top level that long. Fellow countrymen, so they'll be playing with each other, club and country. Real Madrid, the limelight, very successful team. You're playing with the best players in the world. It is a genuine concern. If we don't start winning, some of these players may look other places for success. I mean, Bukayo Saka, I know he's an Arsenal guy, come from the youth system, but how long would he want to stay before thinking, you know what, Chelsea are looking good, you know, if they're on the up, oh, Liverpool, Mo Salah's last season, if they splash the cash, you know what, Liverpool, that's a great team right there. I could go win something with them, you know? So it is a concern that, not necessarily a major concern, but you got to think, yeah, now is the time to win. And to be fair, it's down to the players themselves as well. If they want to win, they have to put in the performances, and they have to really, especially like Saka, he's our, I guess, alongside Martin Odegaard, they're our talisman. So they've got to make this happen, and hopefully we can do that to keep these guys, because if this doesn't work out and players start leaving, I don't know if we have another chance, at least in the next couple of years, next decade or so. This is our window, and there's a bit of it that there's a little bit of doubt creeping in, especially with the early performances, that makes me think that maybe we missed our window. Although it was a very short window, but there was the opportunity to beat City twice, but we just couldn't do it. City not being at their best this year, to be fair. I mean, they've lost 2 Premier League games back to back. They lost in the Champions League, and I believe they lost in the Cup. So this is what, I think I saw a report that said this was Pep's first time in losing 4 games in a row ever. So, you know, it just makes you think. It makes you overthink sometimes. Maybe you might have missed the window. But hopefully the team can, you know, they can prove me wrong. Hopefully the team can build some form of success. Hopefully a cup would be, I would love to see a cup. I think it should be the standard of the season. We need to win something. And if we're not going to win the Prem, we have to at least push these guys to their limit. Make sure that whoever wins the Prem, they have to be at like 90 plus point, 85 plus points or something. But by no means are we down and out. This is only, like I said, 11 games of the season. There's still 27 games left of the Premier League season. There's so many points left to be won. We should be good, man.